Hello, everyone. Welcome to our KaiNexus Training Team Office Hours webinar, episode 11, aka the Banna Rippey Show.
That's more than there are Star Wars movies. We're getting up there.
Oh my God, Banna. My name is Ryan Rippey, and I'm the Customer Enablement Manager over here at KaiNexus. And as always, joined by my partner in crime, Solutions Engineer, Matt Banna.
Honestly, it feels good to be back in the booth here after our live show at the user conference.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty fun to be up on stage presenting to everyone in person. Didn't the conference feedback say that it was actually everyone's favorite part of the conference?
That's absolutely what they said. It seems like our fans showed up in huge numbers this year. Can't wait to see what we get next year.
I love it. So for those of you new to our webinar series, welcome aboard. The way this works is Banna and I plan to nerd out here for the next half hour or so on a KaiNexus topic that we will share with you all in just a bit. The purpose of these webinars is for us to review the hottest topics and latest and greatest features suggested by you, our customers. So before I reveal our topic for today, let's just go over some quick housekeeping items. Now, the webinar is being recorded, so we will go ahead and send out the slides and recording to everyone after the webinar. Also, if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type those into the chat box. Ben and I will do our best to answer those in real time, as well as at the very end of the webinar if we have some time left over. All right, Banna, let's get a slight drum roll, please. As we
Everybody with us doing a drum roll?
Topic for today.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were live again.
Today's webinar topic is Advanced ROI. So our Advanced ROI add-on module is going to give you more control over how the impact of your improvement methods is measured and tracked.
Now, I know this is a little different than our usual content. The Advanced ROI is an additional add-on module, so it's not standard with your normal KaiNexus instance, but this is going to be a great webinar for those that are interested in Advanced ROI, seeing how you can really track your impact, and for people that already have it that really want to see how you can more effectively utilize it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Banna. So let's take a look at what we have on the agenda for today. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the products and resources section of Advanced ROI. From there, we're going to get into what's called range and custom quantitative impact types. We'll take a look at multiple currencies in KaiNexus with Advanced ROI. Then we're going to get into some of the more recent Advanced ROI features that we've seen rolled out here in the last few months. So we'll talk all about investment in KaiNexus. We will talk about impact splitting and allocation. And then we will conclude things on our webinar with ROI projections. All right, Ben, does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
I'm going to let you take these first three. I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee, and then I will come back and see how you're doing. All right, buddy? All right, Banna, floor is yours. Go ahead and get us signed into KaiNexus.
All right, let's get a ripping and a rolling. Rip.
I told you I'm leaving.
So here we're gonna log into our demo environment here. And I'm going to jump into our reorganized IV start kit. So we've enabled all of our Advanced ROI add-on pieces onto this specific template. So we're going to head over to our resolution section. Now, the first part that I'm going to talk about is products and resources. Now, with Advanced ROI, you can add 2 additional impact types to your resolution, and they're called products and resources. So I'm going to click yes. We have a change here, and you'll see here we have 2 new additional categories. Now, products and resources, why would you want to add these? You're going to be able to use these to attribute improvement impacts directly to some products or resources. So you'll be able to directly input SKUs and the price of these resources and attribute these directly to the improvements that helps you produce more or save more. So if we click on this product here, it'll look pretty similar. We can add a value, and we can say whether it's one-time reoccurring, our new range custom, which we'll touch on in a little bit. Then we'll get this list of products. So right here we have a variety of industrial type
cartons of strawberries, crude oil. I'm not sure what type of company this is. Are we working with Amazon here? This is quite a range of products that you set up.
We might be, but on our back end, which I'll show you in a bit, we can actually go in and add any of our new products or resources and say what their cost is and what rate we produce them. So when we add to it, it'll automatically calculate all of that in the background based on how many we may have saved. So we counted as per usual. Let's go ahead and save that right there. Now, resources works in the exact same way. So I'm going to jump over to our admin section, show you how you can add these once they've been enabled on your KaiNexus instance. So you have to be a quality administrator to be able to customize these areas. But you'll see under organization, you'll have these new products and resources tabs. So click on products, and we'll have all of these numerous items that we've added before. You go ahead and add, create products, similar to when you create an attribute. You have to give it a name, a description, a rate. You can even pick a currency, which we'll also touch on later. And then you can set that currency to a default. And then, of course, how often you produce these, what are your measurement metrics there?
Very interesting. I've actually learned quite a few things with that, Banna. Thank you.
Have you just been enabled?
I'm usually the one who does the enabling, but I certainly learned something.
So our next part of our advanced ROI is going to be our range and our custom quantitative impacts. So I'm going to jump back into our reorganized IV start kit. Now, this is something that you have to work with your customer experience advisor representative to get set up. So I'm going to jump back into our actual resolution here. Under our advanced ROI cost savings, we're going to go back and add value. Like I said, you have these two new categories, range and custom. So you're pretty accustomed right now to having a one-time impact or a recurring. So either this impact happened once or it happened over and over again forever. Well, maybe we don't want to track how far things are going indefinitely, right? So we can use that range to say we're going to track, $10 a month from one start date to one end date. So we can pick, sometime in September of this year.
And while you're doing this, should you be singing Home on the Range?
You could.
Okay.
You very well could. And maybe we'll say we want to track it for 2 months, and then we can go back and readjust after that. Go ahead and hit save there. Now, if we go into our advanced ROI revenue generation, we can take a look at our custom.
Okay.
So if we hit custom, there's a lot on this screen here. What custom means is that we can attribute a monetary value to any month here at whatever area we like. So in January, we can add our data. So we can add a year, pick our year, and then in January, maybe it was $10. In February, maybe it was $15, and in March, maybe it was $200.
Awesome.
So we can go ahead and save, and we can really individualize each month's contribution to this improvement.
Very cool.
Now, our last impact that I'm going to talk about before I hand over the microphone to you, Ryan, is multiple currencies. Now, you'll see that we did have multiple currencies right here. I've added the euro as well as the US dollar. And where are we going to find these? Anywhere involving our financial data. So I know some of the organizations that we work with are international, and they use different currencies in different countries. So now you can track what impact each of those has across multiple currencies there.
So you'll have a US dollar, you got the euro here, maybe peso. Can we do Bitcoin?
If you want to put Bitcoin in, you can most definitely put Bitcoin in.
Very cool.
But that's going to fluctuate very fast from day to day or even hour by hour. Now, a currency picker will get added to quantitative financial impact types, such as here. People will be asked what currency their impact should be recorded. And so you can set a default currency to each location. So if you are an international organization and you have offices in America and Europe, you can have your American location set to US dollar and your European location set to the euro. It'll be added to filters. So if we back out here and go back to our board and hit edit here, there's actually a sort and currency button here, so we can sort by either our euro impacts or our US dollar impacts. It'll also be found in our impact summary. So if we head over to our report section, go into impact, there'll be a drop down here for all the currencies that you have available. So you can check the impact savings of each side, whether it's your dollar savings or your euro savings.
So it sounds like, Banna, from a standpoint of for international customers, having the ability to change currencies is going to be very clutch, as well as our larger customers that are working with, other types of currencies that have, maybe clients that are outside of the U.S.
Absolutely.
Play there as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Very nice. All right. let me steal your thunder and hop in here. So I'm now going to go ahead and talk about investment. So let's get back over into our example that we're using here for our advanced ROI. So I'm going to jump back into Reorganize Start Kit. So when we're talking about investment, if you've invested funds, if you invested time, resources when implementing an improvement, you may want to indicate that on the improvement itself. So once we've gone ahead and enabled the investment portion of advanced ROI on your template, when resolving an improvement, if you jump over here to our resolution, we'll come in and let's go ahead and add some more to our resolution here. And so you'll notice that we're going to have a section underneath our impact and review in the future of the investment. Okay, so we can open up this investment section. So the name of the investment in terms of what we see here, this can be customized, but it's going to fall into one of three categories. So we'll have financial investment, we'll have some sort of time investment or man hours that we've put here, as well as resources, which you just talked a little bit about there, Banna. So once you've checked the appropriate box here within investment, let's say we're going to do a financial investment, we'll come in here and add a value similar to how we fill out our impact, right?
Well, and of course, if you have an investment other than these three categories, you can by all means add those in as well.
Exactly, yes. So you're not limited to these three. These are just the three examples that we've set up for you. So once we've come in and want to add our value, in this resulting window is where we can actually record that investment. So let's say, for example, we had a one-time investment of, I'll say dollars, maybe it was $100 we invested into this improvement. So we'll add in this. Go ahead and save, and so now we can have that investment portion of our resolution. So one of the other things that we'll talk about with investment is you can include impact splitting and allocation on investment, which we'll talk about next here, as well as any attributes that you'd like to be able to populate during that investment as well. So once you have that investment entered, you're going to be able to visualize this within the resolution. So I'll go ahead and save this, and so we'll be able to see that investment section within our resolution here. And then also we would be able to take a look at that in a column and list or tree view in KaiNexus, right? So maybe I want to hop out of here, take a look at one of the boards that we have here in place. Let's go over to our expected costs and benefits board. And so we'll see on this particular card on this board, I've included some investment numbers here as well. We have our financial investment, and this is going to be target. We'll talk about target, we'll talk about forecasting and actual, but this is where we'll be able to visualize this in KaiNexus in addition to that resolution section. So switching gears now, let's talk a little bit about that impact splitting and allocation. We'll get back to our example here. So prior to the new advanced ROI feature of impact splitting and allocation, you could view impact in two different ways. It was going to be from the location that the improvement originated in, and from the location that was responsible for implementing that improvement. So with the impact splitting and allocation feature, you're going to be able to divide up what specific locations of your organization were actually impacted by your improvement, and then of course be able to report on that as well. So again, once this has been enabled on your template as part of the Advanced ROI module, when resolving an improvement, we'll come back into resolution again. Let's edit our resolution here. So within our resolution, I'm going to take a look at, let's say, for example, advanced cost savings here, Banna. So when I come in here and add a value, you'll come in and add that particular impact as you normally would. And so one of the other things that we'll see here at the very bottom is that impact location. So this impact location field will be present so that you can come in here and enter the specific location to which you want to allocate that impact to, okay?
Allocate, is that like crocodile gate?
As I say allocate, this is about allocate. Thanks, Banna. So each impact type that includes impact splitting and allocation is going to be customized as well. So on this particular screen, we can hide this section completely. We can make this required whenever you're coming in and logging that impact, or we can make it optional. So I think for our cost savings here, if I'd said, you know what, I don't want to include an impact location, I can clear that out. This is an optional field. If I take a look at, for example, our advanced ROI time savings, when I come in here and add a value, this impact location is going to be required. So if I try to remove that, we're going to want to come in here and make sure we populate. Again, this is going to be pulling from our network in KaiNexus, so we'll want to find that specific department, work group, whatever is actually being impacted based off of this improvement. So once you've actually included that, let's go ahead and select one of our departments here. So let me actually use the cost savings. It'll be easier. I'm going to add a value. So we'll say maybe there was, 30 recurring to US dollars. Maybe it was $30 per day. And so now I can include that as well as my impact location. In this case, I'm going to use Dallas. So once you added that impact location, you're going to have the ability to actually copy that value. So if I take a look at that advanced ROI cost savings we just included, as I hover over this, I can make edits or remove, but I can also copy this. So let's say, for example, I want to quickly attribute the same impact to another location. I can say, hey, let's copy that. And then I would be able to come in here and use all that information and go ahead and populate that other department that would have received some impact from this improvement. So again, remember, as discussed prior to this, you can include impact splitting and allocation on investment in addition to these impact types as well.
Yeah, that way if you have multiple locations that are implementing the same improvement, you can track all the impact from each one.
Perfect, thank you, Banna. So in terms of where you're gonna be able to visualize this, once you have actually, let's go ahead and save this, or if you've saved, completed, submitted for resolution, we can now visualize that here within the resolution section, of course. And I actually want to jump over, Banna, to our location impact report. So if we come over to our reports section here, we'll click into reports. We're looking at impact here. So this location impact report, when we click in here, you're going to see that we can actually filter down this particular report based on originating, responsible, or now specifically this impact location, right? So this is where we're going to be able to come in here and visualize all of those particular improvements and what sort of impact resulted based off of that impact location. We can also, I believe, go ahead and filter down for that as well. So if you're asking yourself, yes, can I filter down by location impacted?
The answer is yes.
Yes, we can actually come in. Let's take a look at one of our cards here. So if we come in and are working on a card, working in a list, when we edit our filter, there's going to be the option for us to come in, and when we're using location, you'll see that we'll be able to choose a location, and then in this any section is where we'll be able to get further and either choose originating, responsible, or of course that new impact location here as well. So a lot of great stuff with that impact splitting and allocation. The final one that I want to take a look at is going to be our ROI projections. So this is going to be that target and forecast that we'll be able to set up. ROI projections are going to give you the ability to forecast ROI. You can track actual performance to plan. This is going to help give visibility into the potential versus actual ROI so that your organization can ultimately get better at forecasting results. So again, we're going to need to have this enabled on your template, but once that is enabled, let's come back to our example here today. Once enabled on the template, when we come into that resolution section, I'm sure some of you noticed that you're going to be able to add specific target as well as forecast. So at the very bottom here, we see this submit forecast, submit target option. I'm going to start off with submitting a target. This will probably be when you create a new improvement, you want to go in and submit what that target impact is going to be before you can maybe get started on that improvement. So I'll come in here and submit a target. We'll see that we have all of our impact and investment types available here. So maybe I'm hoping that there'll be some target impact of revenue generation. And maybe that specific value is, we're hoping that this is going to result in a $10,000 revenue generation for the company. So I can include this in here. I'll go ahead and save that. We can also include investment as well. So I can say maybe we are targeting to only invest maybe $1,000 into this improvement.
It's a pretty good return.
Exactly, yeah. We don't mess around. So we'll go ahead and add that as well. I'll go ahead and save this. And so now once we have that target impact and target investment in place, we'll go ahead and save this. And then as you're actually working through your improvement, one of the things you'll be able to add and then track is going to be your forecasts in relation to that target.
Are you going to forecast sunny days today? Because I'm supposed to have kickball and it looks like it's going to rain.
You know what, everyone? It's been raining in Austin again after such a hot summer. I did not sign up for this weather. So let's add our forecast. We'll, in the spirit of the weather, we'll submit our forecast here. So let's say as we're working through this improvement, we now want to capture the new forecast if it's changed from our target, we can now come in here and again, let's use the two examples that we included of our revenue generation. So maybe now as we're working on this, we're actually forecasting that this is only going to generate in maybe $8,000. So we can come in here and include our new forecast. I can save this. And then let's say, but maybe on the plus side, our investment has gone down. So maybe we're only now having to invest maybe $500.
Now you do see us changing from euro to US dollar pretty frequently. You can actually set up which default that you want. I set it as euro to our default, something brand new that we haven't used yet. Of course, you can set to a US dollar or whichever location you want.
Absolutely. So now that we've added everything in here for our forecast, we can save our forecast and we'll be able to visualize this again in our resolution section. We have our forecast, we have our target. The other thing that I want to point out is once you come in and maybe want to edit that forecast, you have the ability to do so. You can select the little pencil icon here. We can update our forecast. Maybe now, things have changed. It's going to be actually $12,000. So we're actually forecasting it's going to be more than what our original target was. You'll be able to come in here and edit that forecast. Go ahead and save that. And all of these changes, of course, are going to be reflected in your timeline. So if we actually hop out of our resolution section, come over to timeline here, we'll see Greg is in here updating all of this. If we go ahead and take a look at the change within that forecast, you'll be able to visualize exactly what the original forecast was, any changes that are made. So all of that will be tracked in the timeline for you as well.
Pretty awesome.
This is really great stuff here. So last but not least, of course, is once you've actually completed working on the improvement, you're going to want to measure what that actual impact was. So when we come into resolution, we've been playing around in here and including a lot of stuff. So we've included our actual, so we can put our actual in there. You'll be able to update your, in this case, revenue generation, financial impact with what those actual numbers were, save, resolve, complete your improvement. And then in terms of where we want to visualize this, in addition to what we see here in the resolution section, we can also see these on a board as well. So if we go back to that example board that we were taking a look at, I believe it's our, the expected costs and benefits. So here on this board, what I've done is I've gone in and added all of these columns here. So this is giving us the financial investment, the financial impact. These are our targets. We also are going to have our financial investment, financial impact for our forecasting. And then you'll also have that financial investment, financial impact for what your actual is. So you can view all of these columns, see how things on your improvements are in comparison to one another. And again, this is a really great feature so that you can set impact and investment targets for your improvement. You can record those changing forecasts throughout implementation, and then ultimately compare your predictions with the actual results. You'll be able to view those here on columns on a card. You can also filter. So we've been showing the filtering options. If we want to come in here and maybe filter down, you'll have the options to filter both your impact. So if we want to use impact in here, we'll be able to come in, do our impact, choose that specific impact, and then for type, you'll be able to get into the nitty-gritty between your actual forecast and target. This also is going to work for the currencies, which Banna went over earlier. So if we wanted to use currency here, we'll be able to have those same options to choose from as well. So Banna, that actually wraps up everything that we have here. You want to kind of take us out?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have any questions or need assistance with configuration, if you are interested in Advanced ROI or already have it and want some of these features set up, make sure you reach out to your KaiNexus customer experience representative. Also, we highly encourage you to check out our support site. We have info on the Advanced ROI here as well. You can dig in, surf through, or you can just come back and rewatch our webinar to learn anything that you may need to.
The support site is here to help you become a KaiNexpert.
It is. So. It is. That's our new buzzword, so we've been using it a lot. Now, be sure to subscribe to both our improvement and our KaiNexus customer blogs to learn more about KaiNexus and improvement. Here we have our customer blog, and I can jump over to our improvement blog right here. We post awesome content there all the time, sometimes written by yours truly or Mr. Rippey here. So make sure you check those out. Next, make sure you sign up for our next training team office hours webinar, which we'll be hosting sometime near the end of October. I'm not sure what our new topic might be yet.
Most likely, for those of you who are at the user conference, we'll do a deep dive into the 2.3 release that we have scheduled for October.
That sounds fantastic. We were just taking a look at it the other day. It looks amazing. There's so much cool stuff that's coming out.
Yep, can't wait.
And then if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our Continuous Improvement podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
And we appreciate everyone tuning in. We hope that the material was valuable for you. We only have a couple more of these. We're wrapping up 2018, so a few more webinars. Make sure you tell your friends and be sure to sign up for the remaining webinars we have. Banna, go ahead.
He's Ryan Rippey.
He's Matt Banna.
Keep improving.
And we'll see you guys next time.